hopefully it's just a little speed bump here with recent news with the NHL and working towards that return to play here, but definitely seems a little discouraging at this point that there was over 200 tests have been conducted since the players have started opening up team facilities here. That there was 11 positive tests, including most notably forward of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Auston Matthews here. And keep in mind he's only 22 years old, and this disease or with COVID-19 or coronavirus here definitely does not just hit old farts or the elderly here. I know the death rates have still been highest when it comes to the elderly here. However, it's definitely affecting, people my age group or even younger here, considering with Auston Matthews here, and definitely is now got to take care of himself and hope all the best here. I know there was the other side of the story was that he was with Frederick Anderson in Arizona there, and he tested negative here. But the other big pieces of it that apparently, I said there's 11 players that have tested positive here, and there's definitely been testing that players go through every couple times a day here, every day, before we get into the next phase here. But this is definitely a speed bump here, because the one state where definitely, excuse me, cases have definitely been increasing has been Florida here, to the point where there was 3 players and 2 staff members of the Tampa Bay Lightning that tested positive for this, where their team facility has shut down here. This is definitely becoming more uncharted territory here, because the plan for the NHL is that they want to start training camp on July 10th here. Of the 24 teams that are going to play in the playoffs here, and there's still a word out there about hub cities here. And actually, when it comes to, because Toronto, Edmonton, and Vancouver are also considered as frontrunners to be a hub city here, they actually have announced that the government will lift the restrictions for players to go over into Canada here, if by any chance one of the 3 Canadian cities have been considered to be a hub city here. And this is definitely emphasizes a lot more why, if we were to continue on to have playoffs at a 2020 Stanley Cup here, that these players need to be in a controlled bubble as soon as they can here, to hopefully minimize chances of cases having an outbreak here. And at this stage here, you could probably say these speed bumps have been expected, given that things are slowly opening up here. And I know here in Alberta here, cases have increased and there's been more active cases here, but cases per day has been steady. But it's still, although we've been testing a lot more too, which definitely, you got to say, when you look at the math, it's definitely inevitable it's going to happen here. But it definitely feels a little discouraging at this point here, that I think this is just a little setback at this point here about NHL and their return to play plan here. But I think it's definitely going to be a living, evolving document here. Same with, just in my personal life here, and also the fact about, getting back into the office here and protocols that I'm going to have to go through myself with my employer. But it's definitely, evolving when it comes to the NHL and the Players Association here. And I know that there's still too many questions and unknowns to be unanswered here. But what do you think of everything that's going on right now? Including with Auston Matthews testing positive, the 11 cases that apparently have come back positive in players that have been back with their respective team facilities here, and then according to the Tampa Bay Lightning's team facility being closed unless there's any more cases that come back positive here. I think the plan is that they're going to close everything now, and if everybody comes back negative and everything's good here, things will reopen here. But then there's a lot of misinformation out there too, where they say that if you test positive or negative here, doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% as well, which that's definitely getting a little tricky here. But I'm still hopeful that eventually we'll have some hockey this summer, and that the Stanley Cup will be awarded here. I keep saying it's not going to be until the end of September, early October here, if let's say hockey begins, the beginning of August with the playing round, and then the 4 rounds, best of 7 to the Stanley Cup here, and it takes 2 months to go through it all here, and if you just look at the calendar and pace it out here, Stanley's not going to get awarded until, end of August, or end of September, early October here, and then they're still not worried about next season if it's going to start December or January 1st, and it's going to take a few years for everything to get back to regular schedules here, but this is why it's still worth doing these trial runs to still salvage something, because things aren't going to be back to normal. If people say just cancel, wait till October here, well, we might still be in the same situation. Well, who knows? It might actually get worse, where we might have to scale back a phase too. Hopefully we don't need to pause again, and that's the case with all these other major leagues in there. They got to make sure they got everything in a row here, where they want to be able to play where it's safe as possible, where they don't have to press pause again, because they definitely don't need that. And that's the same thing with everything else in life in general too, is we got to do it as safely as possible and not have to go step back. And of course, things will get easier once there is an effective treatment or a vaccine here, but that's still, a ways away. You're not going to hear tomorrow that suddenly it's there and everything's back to normal. That's not how life works here, but I'll just say, what do you think of everything here? And that's why I'm definitely in no hurry to make any serious preview yet, because we still don't know if it's going to happen, what the schedule's going to be like, and there might be a potential where many players might not come back for various reasons. If some have underlying health conditions or just don't feel like coming back yet, there's still a lot of things to be determined here. But you hear that in other leagues overseas, that they've had their procedures where if someone tests positive, that they shut things down right away and make sure everybody else is okay for to get back out of here. And this is probably expected in phase 2 in this return to play plan. But this is hopefully just a speed bump here, where eventually we'll get to phase 3, where everybody's in their bubble training to get ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs, and then phase 4, drop the puck, and hopefully things will get going, and we'll have playoffs and Stanley Cup and get closer to getting back to normal here. So I just say, what do you think of everything? And hopefully for all the players that they tested positive, will get to recover and get back at it as soon as possible, and still be able to play and see the best competition ever, because for the most part, players are going to be back healthier and somewhat rested here because of these unique circumstances. But just take it a day at a time, and that's why I keep making these videos, to give my takes and feelings on everything here. So if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, I mostly talk Calgary sports, and I've been doing other sports updates here. That's what I mostly do. I also do have personal blogs, attempt to comedy, and I also do share my experiences. Let's say I'm on the road or at a sporting event here. So if that all sounds like you'd be interested to watch, to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, you know what you need to do. I also have my other social media links down in the description below there. So as I say, to wrap up this video, I just say hopefully this is just a little speed bump, where cases were expected to rise as things have been reopening here. I know other parts in the U.S. it's been rising a lot more, which that's unfortunate as well here. But hopefully, things will eventually still somewhat go back to plan here. That eventually we'll have playoffs and Stanley Cup playoffs, and then still focus on having a 2020-21 season here, whenever that's going to start here, and slowly, shift everything back to where we start hockey in October again, and hopefully in front of the sea of red sooner rather than later here. But it's all wishful thinking and waiting at this point here. So as I say here, go Flames go, and I'll see you in the next video here.